Hello everyone, my name is Dilnoza and today I'm going to talk about my Pecha Kucha of second language acquisition. Just a little bit about Pecha Kucha. Pecha Kucha or Lightning Talk was created in 2003 and each participant's visuals are limited to 20 slides with any 20 seconds allotted per slide. That was very interesting to make it. According to my second slide, you can see that one language sets you in a corridor for life. Two languages open every door along the way, according to Frank Smith. I agree with him, and I think that if you know one language or additional to it foreign languages, it will help you to go to different countries and explore different cultures. Now let's talk about particular locations in the brain may be specialized for language functions. For instance, Broca's area. That is in the left front lobe and appeared to be responsible for the ability to speak, or Wernicke's area has also been a center to language processing. So far, I really enjoyed reading our two main textbooks, How Languages Are Learned by Patsy Lightbone and Nina Svada, and Introducing Second Language Acquisition by Muriel Sevilla-Troika. I really enjoyed because I found very interesting new terms and very interesting concept that I have to use in my future career. So far, while reading our second language acquisition, we came across special terms such as second language acquisition, second language itself, informal learning, formal learning, linguistic competence, for instance, or simultaneous multilingualism or bilingualism, how adults and children learn foreign languages, language contact, and learner language positive transfer, negative transfer, fossilization, and how on the whole foreign language teaching and learning appear. Now let's take a look why learn a language on the whole. So maybe for the reason to find some new friends, or to find a job, or to have some new opportunities, to get a better life, freedom, or to have a better education. Or for instance, some people enjoy traveling and having some trip by having pleasure. Now let's take a look at the age factors and how second language learning appears. In this picture you can see a child and an adult. So why children acquire second language quicker than an adult? For instance, simply pick up language and then they use naturally. They keep longer. For instance, an adult, they learn grammar rules and then sometimes their knowledge is blocked, or they use the conscious learning, complicated and indirect. So in the next slide we can see happy children. Language learning in early childhood. What does it mean? I think it's very important to learn foreign languages or a second language from childhood. For instance, I had my Russian when I was 4 or 5 years, and then I just tried to remember all the words that my mom or my dad told me, and I tried to keep my first and second language at the same level. Now we can see first language acquisition here. I found very interesting timeline of music and language, but I'll try to talk about the language. So as we know, the language acquisition is one of the most impressive and fascinating aspects of human development. So you can see here in 2 years, in 3 years, 4 or 5, 6 till 12 years, what is going on, how speech is simple, and syntactic abilities, how mastered syntactic subletters of native language, and then the syntax and semantics independent, and then syntactic sensitivity, which is adult levels by 12 years old. Now let's take a look at this example. So far we read about the behaviorist perspective. According to it, children vary in the amount of imitation they do. In addition, many of the things they say show that they are using language creatively, not just repeating what they have heard. For instance, here the child in the process of learning patterns in language, in this case the rules of word formation, and overgeneralizing them to new context. In the next slide we can see why bilinguals are smarter, or childhood bilingualism is so important. The language development of children who learn multiple languages during the childhood is of enormous importance throughout the world. And we know that I was so happy to learn multiple languages from my early childhood, and I think it helped me to develop my new ideas and to know more about the world. And I also believe that second language acquisition and age factors are the main. So many people who have never heard of the critical period of hypothesis believe that in school programs for second or foreign language teaching, younger is better. However, I think that both experience and research show that starting early is no guarantee of success and that older learners can attain high level of proficiency in their second language too, that I did with my German. Now let's talk about the world of second languages, and here we should pay attention to the term multilingualism that refers to the ability to use two or more languages. And as we know that multilingualism occurs in every country, but the use of multiple languages is quite unequal. For instance, in my country, Uzbekistan, a few people speak other than their national language on a regular basis. In the next slide, we will take a look at the main foundation of second language acquisition. So far, we read a lot of information about perspectives, focus, and frameworks, and we paid attention to linguistic, psychological, and social factors. That was very important and useful while learning the foreign or a second language. Now let's take a look at this picture and the nature of language. As we know, the language is divided into different levels like lexicon, phonology, morphology, syntax, nonverbal structure, and discourse. Let's talk about the vocabulary. And we know that here, from our example, chicken has word meaning, pronunciation, grammatical category, part of speech, and possible occurrence in combination with other words and idioms. Next slide shows the interpersonal competence. That is very important, and we know that interpersonal competence encompasses knowledge required of learners who plan to use the L2 primarily in face-to-face contact with other speakers. Here we can see the listening skills, understanding, talking, writing, and reading. Depending on the learner's need, the places can be changed. So this next example shows how in grammar translations approaches there is a considerable use of reading and writing, as learners translate text from one language to another and grammar rules are taught explicitly. Let's take a look at the structure-based instructional settings. Here in this picture we can see that in communicative and content-based instruction, the emphasis is on the communication of meaning, both between teacher and students and among the students themselves in group or pair work. While continuing to talk about interpersonal interaction from our previous slide, I would like to talk about Vygotsky and his scaffolding. Vygotsky is most famous for his discussion of the zone of proximal development, wherein children learn more with the support of adults around them. And this goes through scaffolding. Here we can see some more scaffolding strategies as visuals and realia, use of first language, read aloud, modulating gestures, or graphic organizers. I usually prefer and like to use scaffolding strategies a lot in my classes. In the next slide, I would like to share some recommendations from other teachers about scaffolding. So first, use internet resources to help plan lessons. Use PowerPoint to help deliver clear instructions that we did with our Pecha Kucha that I'm very thankful to Dr. Aurora. And then you can also allow students to either research or create a project using technology. And then the last one is student independence, teacher as a resource. Finally, to sum up my Pecha Kucha, I would like to use this picture to say that learning foreign languages unite all people around the world, and everyone is happy, easily can understand each other, and I was really enjoyed working with my Pecha Kucha and was happy to make my presentation. Thank you.